Okay, so for lab 3, we're going into the Math 90 Blackboard and look at lab 3, and you'll see that it is the My Giant activity. And Cerise and Diego, is it showing that it's recording on your end?
Uh, it's showing.
Okay, good. I'm going to stop share and just see on my end if it still shows that it's recording. Yes, it does. Good. Okay, so we're going to module 3, which is lab 3, the My Giant workshop. So the story on this lab is that there's some sort of guest intruder that is coming into the classroom, and they've come in, they've gone out, but they've left a footprint. So here it is. Here's the footprint. And if you actually measure that footprint, you can take it to be 18 inches. So the question is, can you figure out how tall this giant was, this intruder, this criminal, just based on that footprint? Now, key to figuring this out is that body proportions, body parts in people are somewhat proportional. So for example, if you put your hand on over your face from your wrist to your tall finger, that's about the height of your face, whether you're a giant or whether you're really little. So knowing that can help you figure out the approximate height of this giant. And can you see my screen over? Okay, Cerise?
I can see your screen.
Good. Okay, so if we open lab 3, it shows you where that lab is. We're going to go to the facilitator notes, pages 1 through 4, and the handouts 4 through 6 and page 13. So let me click the link and show you how to get there. So here's the My Giant activity. There's the facilitator notes, but we'll just go straight to the handouts. And it said page 4 through 6 to begin with. Okay, so here's the picture of the giant's footprint. And you don't have to cut it out. I'll just give you the measurement from the top to the bottom of the foot. You're taking that to be 18 inches. And here's actually an example of someone who's really tall, the world's tallest woman. Now, I don't know if this has been exceeded since this curriculum was written, but this woman was 7 to 7.25 feet, standing next to a 6-foot friend. I don't know, it was 7 feet, 7.25 inches she was, standing next to the 6-foot friend. She was an average size baby at a mere 6.5 pounds. She wore a size 22 shoe, and there's a video about Sandy called It's Okay to Be Different. Cast a Giant Shadow is her book about her life and has acted in several movies, including Fellini's Casanova and Sideshow. So there's more information if you want to learn more. Anyway, pretend that the giant is going to visit your home. What items would you need? What size would the items need to be And especially, how high would the ceiling need to be? So you need the height. Here's just some information about the average height for boys at different ages. So at age 20, we have an average height of almost 70 inches. Just some interesting tidbits there. Now I'll go back to another interesting website that gives body ratios. It's here. This just gives some interesting human body ratios. So the total height of an average adult is equivalent to 7 to 7.5 heads tall. So if you're drawing an adult, you can take the head, if you put 7 to 7.5 heads, that's about the height of the person. The nose length of an average adult is equivalent to the first 2 digits of your pointer finger. So if you take the first 2 digits there, that's about the height of a person's nose. Okay, that your head is approximately 4 to 5 eyes wide. So if you look at my eye, the width of my head is 4 to 5 eyes wide. So again, something to keep in mind if you're drawing the head. The length of a face is equal to the length of a hand. Eyes are separated by 1 eye's width. The bottom of nose to the outer corner of the eye is equal to the length of your ear, roughly. The length of a foot is equal to the length of a forearm. So you could hold your forearm up against your foot. The waist to neck ratio. So if you measured around your waist and around your neck, and then you unfolded that string or measuring tape, is 1 to 2. The ratio is 1 to 2. So in other words, your waist circumference is twice the circumference of your neck, and the neck to wrist ratio is 1 to 2. So your neck is twice the circumference of your wrist. Okay, so we're going to use that information and just make the assumption of equal body ratios in doing this problem. Okay, so we have the information that the giant's foot length is 18 inches. Okay, now we need to compare that to your foot length, and then we can set up a proportion with your height to figure out what would the giant's height be. So I need you to get a ruler, a yardstick, measuring tape, something like that,
You need
to
what?
find the length of your foot and your height. Do you
For
have a
what?
ruler where you can measure the length of your foot?
No,
Or tape measure, anything like that?
no.
Okay, we'll just go off of mine then. I'll measure my foot length. Anybody who is watching the recording, if you've got a ruler, go ahead and measure your own foot length to the nearest inch. So my foot length is approximately 10 inches. that we can compare to the giant's foot length. And then we need the giant's height, but we don't know the giant's height. So what can we put into a proportion for the information we don't know?
X.
You can just use X or N, some letter. You could use H. So set up a proportion to find the giant's height in feet and inches. So we'll call it X. And then for my height, I am roughly 8.5. Or sorry, 5'8.5" inches tall. Okay, so how would you set up a proportion with this information? The giant's foot length is 18 inches. My foot length is 10 inches. Giant's height is X. My height, 5'8.5" inches. Tell me what proportion that you might set up.
What proportion?
Yes. So if we have two fractions here set equal to each other, how would you fill in that proportion? The numerator and denominator on each side to solve this problem. So for example, if we wanted to do foot length to height, we could say the giant's foot length is 18 inches. So the giant's height is X. Then what would I put on this side to keep it corresponding?
X.
Okay, we already put in the X because we don't know the giant's height. So we have 18 inches foot length to X height. Now we'll do my foot length to my height. So what's my foot length?
5.
It was 10. My foot length was 10 inches. And what was my height?
5.5.
5'8.5" inches. Okay, so we have 18 inches to the giant's height equals 10 inches for my foot length to 5'8.5" inches.
I don't have a ruler or measuring tape, so do I just write that down or?
Yes, you can just use mine,
Okay.
my information. So write down that proportion. Okay, now to solve a proportion, we need to multiply on the diagonal and then divide by the other number. And tell me when you're ready to move on, once you have that proportion written down. Okay, so to solve a proportion, we multiply on the diagonal and divide by the other number. So we're going to take the 18, and I'll write that as 18/1 since we're dealing in fractions, times 5'8.5" inches. divided by 10. Okay, now order of operations tells us if you have just multiplying and dividing in your expression, you just go from left to right. So we'll go 18 times 5 foot 8.5 inches divided by 10. Okay, now before we do that computation, let's turn our 5 foot 8.5 inches all into one number. We can either turn it all into feet or we can turn it all into inches. I would recommend that we just turn it all into inches. So do you know how many inches happen to be in 1 foot? So this is a ruler. Here's the inches along the top. How many inches are in 1 foot? Can you see there? What's that number? How many inches in 1 full foot?
One,
What's this number right here?
1.5.
It's the number 12. Is it backwards for you?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, down here is centimeters, but let's just look at inches.
12.
Yeah, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So the abbreviation for feet is just this little slash. So we've got 5 feet, 8.5 inches. So let's pull this out and turn that all into inches. So we have 5 feet, but there's 12 inches in every one of those feet. So how many total inches would that be?
$45.
You would have to take 5 times 12, since there's 12 inches in every one of those feet. Or you could take 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 5 times. But the shortcut is to take 5 times 12. So what is 5 times 12? And you're free to use a calculator for that part.
60.
Is 60 inches. And then we need to add onto that the 8.5 inches. And I'm going to write that as a decimal, 8.5. So it's 60 plus 8.5.
$60 plus what?
60 inches plus 8.5 inches.
Uh,
And you can use a calculator. 60 plus 8.5.
$68.5.
Correct. So 5 foot 8.5 inches is the same as 68.5 inches. 2 little slash marks means inches. So now we can come back to this computation. We'll do 18 times 68.5 divided by 10. We'll just go into the calculator to do that. And 18 times 68.5 divided by It's divided by symbol 10. And I'm getting 123.3. Hi, Jaden. Welcome to class. We're working on lab 3 right now. How are you? So we end up with 123.3. And that is equal to our letter X. What did X stand for?
$68.5.
Well, X stood for the giant's height. The 68.5 inches was my height, but we have just solved and calculated the giant's height.
Oh, 123.
123.3 inches, but we're supposed to give the answer as feet and inches. So we need to convert the giant's height into feet and inches. And Jaden, let me just catch you up really quickly here. For lab 3, we are supposed to figure out how tall this giant is if we know that their foot length is 18 inches. And we know that my foot length is 10 inches. My height is 5 foot 8.5 inches. So based on that and the assumption that body parts are proportional, we can set up a proportion. So if the giant's height we call X, we can say the giant's height of 18, or giant's foot length of 18 inches to the giant's height is equal to my foot length to my height. So foot length to height equals foot length to height. So make sure that you stay consistent when you set up your proportion. And then to solve it, we took 18 times 5 foot 8.5 inches divided by 10 inches. So you can see that right here. X equals 18 times 5 foot 8.5 inches divided by 10 inches. Before we did the computation though, we turned 5 foot 8.5 inches all into inches. So 5 feet we took times 12 to turn it into inches because there's 12 inches in every foot. So 5 times 12 is 60. Then we added, so it's 60 inches plus 8.5 inches is 68.5 inches. So then taking 18 times 68.5 divided by 10, we get 123.3 inches for the giant's foot length. And now we just need to convert that back into feet and inches. So let's go back into the calculator. What should I divide by if I want to turn the inches into feet?
12.
Yes, we'll divide 123.3 divided by 12. Fraction bar is the same as divided by. So now we have our whole number part is 10 feet. And now we just need to figure out how many inches 0.275 is. It's 0.275 of 12. So we'll take 0.275 of a foot. So we'll take the 0.275 times 12 is 3.3 inches. So we have 10 feet, 3.3 inches would be the final answer for the height of the giant. 10 feet, 3.3 inches.
Miss Andrea,
Yes,
I don't have lab 3.
it's right in front of you. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, so it's only on your screen. We don't have it on ours.
Well, I'll show you where it is in
It's not in none of my assignments or grade books.
okay, you're in the Math 90 class, correct?
No, I'm in math 12.
You're in Math 1012?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So the labs are only a requirement for the Math 90 students. In the first part of the class, I went over a test review for both the 1012 and the Math 90 students, which is, you can see a test review if you go into your 1012 Blackboard content module 1, gives a test 1 review. And then the lab is just for the Math 90 students. So I'll just finish this up now. So Suri's,
Yeah.
this is your answer. So make sure you have that down. But now I want to go back to this proportion that we made and just show you some other ways you could have written the proportion and get the same answer. So the way we set it up is using the giant's foot length to the giant's height. So we did the foot length to the height equals my foot length to my height. But we could have set it up with giant's foot length to my foot length equals the giant's height to my height. And you would get the same answer. So if we did that, it would look like this. The giant's foot length was 18 inches. My foot length was 10 inches. Equals the giant's height, we didn't know, was X over my height was 5'8.5" inches. And then when you go to solve that proportion, you still take 18 times 5'8.5" divided by 10, just like we did down here with the other proportion. The important thing is that you're consistent when you write up your fractions. So it's giant to me equals giant to me. Here we had giant's foot length, the giant's height equals my foot length to my height. So you do have some flexibility there in how you set up your proportion, but the numbers will all turn out the same, as long as you've set it up consistently.
Sandra,
Yes.
it's my other class.
What's that?
I'll go to my other class.
Okay, would you like me to show you now where the test review is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you have all this down, Suri's?
Yeah, you want me to send it?
Yes, text it to me so I can give you your
Also, did you put in the grade for the lab 2?
Did I not put it in for lab 2?
I don't see it.
Okay, I will check on that. But first I'm going to show Jaden where you can find the test review. The test review follows the test very closely. The same story problems, same types of problems. It's just that the numbers are changed. So you go into your 1012 Blackboard content, scroll down to module 1. And there it says Unit 1 test review. So you can click on that and listen to that lecture and prepare for the test. Okay. Okay, do either of you have any other questions for me while I'm looking up?
I sent it.
Okay. And let me just double check on making sure that I have your score in for lab 2. And are you still there?
Yeah.
I just want to verify that you cannot see my screen because I don't want to be showing this to everybody.
Yeah, I can go.
That's 10, 12. You need math 90 to put the lab score in. Okay, I do have your lab entered. Oh, it looks like I forgot to post it. Okay, I just entered and posted your lab 3, and I just posted your lab 2. So you should be able to see all of that now.
I'm gonna check.
Okay. All right. Any other questions before we depart here?
Uh,
Okay.
well, I think that's it. I see it, and I've already done the test and got an passing grade on it, so I'm ahead.
Excellent. Okay, if you do get below 70 on the test, you can do corrections with a tutor for half the points back.
I got an 85 on it.
Oh, great. Good. You're doing good.
All right. Yep,
All
I'm
right,
ahead,
thank
so
you.
I got nothing.
Bye-bye.
Bye.